السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. طبعا ببتدي قراية هذا الكتاب. كتاب جدا روعة، المؤلفة إيفانكا ترامب. العنوان Women Who Work. طبعا الكتاب تروي فيه قصة حياتها، تروي قصة نجاحها، شلون الإيجابية قدرت تأثر عليها في العمل وحتى في الحياة العملية. Women Who Work. Warm scarf wrapped tightly around my neck. I carried everything I needed on my back. Around mile 3 of 8-hour hike through Patagenia, I paused to take in the incredible view that I stretched before me. Crystal blue water below, snow-covered peaks dotting the horizon. I felt calm and grateful that bright, frosty morning, a contrast to the uneasiness I felt in New York, which had prompted this life-changing journey. I just decided to leave the Brooklyn-based real estate company, Forest City, Ratner, my first employer and professional home of the previous 12 months, to take the leap and join our family business. I had always intended to work at another firm for a while, to gather experience from a different perspective, and then to join my father and brother at the Trump organization. But as the day approached, my mind swam with questions prompted by the unknown. I knew from working at Forest City that I loved real estate and had the potential to excel. What I didn't know was that working with my family would be like. Could I thrive in an environment where there were such high expectations tied to the most personal of relationships? Was this unequivocally what I wanted to be doing? What would happen if I performed poorly? What would happen if, in spite of excelling, there wasn't great professional chemistry? I knew that family businesses in general tend to have binary outcomes. They either work incredibly well or are a total disaster. A meager 12% survive into a third generation, and I knew of some family ventures that had caused irreparable damage among parents, siblings, and grandparents. While I never questioned my passion for real estate or my love for my family, I was wrestling with either the timing and the decision to combine them were right for me. Women in real estate development were, and sadly still are, somewhat rare. Perhaps some of my reservations stemmed from the fact that outside of my family's business, I'd only ever known of a handful of women at the highest ranks in their industries. The one who mattered most to me, of course, is the most capable woman I know, my mother. When I was 8 or 9, I would sometimes accompany her on construction site visits to the iconic Plaza Hotel in New York. As the top executive in charge of its development, she would meticulously inspect each inch of the prior day's work. Impeccably dressed in a full makeup and 4-inch high heels, while I would run the hallways and explore the hotel. For me it was a great fun, but for my mother it was all business. She had extraordinarily high expectations, not just for others, but for herself, and people rose to the occasion. It was my mother, unapologetically feminine in a male industry, who first embodied and defined for me what it meant to be multi-dimensional woman. A woman who works at all aspects of her life. A world-class athlete, She was a member of the Czech Olympic ski team. She had 3 children in 7 years and oversaw design and operations for many other significant real estate projects in addition to the plaza. She ate breakfast with my brothers and me every morning, managed our schedules with careful attention to details. To keep your kids out of trouble, keep them busy, she loves to tell me now. And orchestrated her own schedule to maximize spending time with us, a fashion icon, to consummate hostess, and lifelong entrepreneur. My mother is today glamour to my kids and one of my greatest sources of support. For example, she taught me to define success on my own terms, to set my own priorities, and to be true to my values. Now, as a wife, mother, and a businesswoman myself, I understand that it wasn't nearly as easy for my mother as she made it look. 25 years ago, it was an unspoken sign of weakness to admit. You had passions or interests outside of work, especially if you were a woman. This was a critical time historically, when women were fighting for a place at the table. My brothers and I were lucky, as our mother was one of the few who were able to mix work and family. Most women weren't comfortable even discussing their marriages or their kids on the job. If she was employed outside the home, a woman was expected, like her male counterparts, to put work first, above all else. If she had children or wanted children, she was told she could have it all, but was never clearly known how. As a result, some women backed away from demanding their fair share of opportunities and accolades. Unclear how best to navigate their personal and professional dreams and ambitions. I've often reflected upon that trip to Patagonia, as it captured a moment in time that was truly pivotal in shaping the rest of my life. As much as I wrestled then with the decision to join my family at the Trump organization, it turns out that the soul-stretching journey led me right where I belonged. Today I'm an executive vice president at the Trump organization, co-founder of Trump Hotels and Scions and Sion, and a founder of my own eponymous fashion brand, independently. One factor in my success has been the doors that my family's name and my privileged upbringing have opened. I'm deeply grateful for all the opportunities afforded to me, but they alone didn't guarantee my success. Curiosity, passion, hard work, and perseverance have enabled me to prove my value to myself and others beyond my surname. I don't take lightly the fact that I am fortunate, and I try to give back my mind. My grandfather always told me, to whom much is given, much is expected. I consider the position am to be a great responsibility and one I intended to use wisely. While we have made a lot of progress since my mother's generation, many of the realities these women faced are still a concern for us today. Too often, for reasons like a lack of flexibility or poor support at home or at work, women are taking themselves out of great opportunities. This is a crucial issue. 47% of the US workforce is made up of women. 70% of all mothers support ourselves or contribute financially to our families, bottom line. And 40% of American households have female primary breadwinners, yet we still say working woman, as if she were an anomaly. We never say working man. Typically, when the conversation turns to women and work, there is often still an ingrained negativity. A you versus me, or an us versus them mentality. Instead of the conversation feeling inclusive and supportive of all women and their choices around life and work, the dialogue is often reduced to the outdated, one-dimensional expectation of what a working woman should do, how she should act, and what she should look like. The time to change the narrative around women and work, once and for all, is long overdue. In fact, it's become my life's mission. The good news is that, for the first time in history, modern professional women, like you and me, are openly embracing the fact that our lives are multidimensional. We're owning who we are, endeavoring to become the best versions of ourselves inside and outside the office, and surrounding ourselves with people who support these goals. We're inspiring to do work that we love, work that inspires us, and we're pursuing our passions and unabashedly making them priorities. We're training for marathons and learning to code. We're planning adventures with our kids and weekend gateways with our friends. We're defining what it means to be a modern woman who works for ourselves and our families, for the companies at which we're employed, for our culture and large, and for the generations to come. Whether you are founder of your own company or stay-at-home mom, an assistant in a large corporation, of a part-time freelancer working from home, I believe that when it comes to women and work, there isn't one right answer. We all trying to figure out how to create meaningful lives for ourselves and our families. What that looks like and how to achieve it is different for each and every one of us. So why write a book about it? Because despite the many advancements women have made, we've still got a long way to go. Because I'm inspired to provide solutions that advocate, that educate and empower women to be their best selves, both personally and professionally. Because I want my daughter's generation to think about work differently, because I'm committed to inspiring women to redefine success according to what is important to each and every one of you, and encouraging you to design a life that honors your individual passions and priorities in a way only you can. Like you, I'm a woman who works at every aspect of my life. We are women who work at seizing opportunities. The size of your dreams must always exceed your current capacity to achieve them. If your dreams do not scare you, they are not big enough. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, President of Liberia. For years, fashion brands portrayed the working woman as a non-dimensional suit-clad caricature, striding down Fifth Avenue, briefcase in hand, a stern expression on her face. As 25 years old woman, I found this image passé and completely unrelatable. A female ad executive would never have perpetuated such a dated stereotype. It seemed more likely that these campaigns were created by 70-year-old men looking to sell women's workwear. The women I knew, my friends, my mentors, the women I worked with at the Trump organization weren't cold, stoic caricatures focused solely on their careers. They were smart and feminine. They had lives and passions outside of the office, an interest in expressing their personalities through their fashion choices while still being appropriately dressed for work. I had already taken a first step toward reimagining the options available to modern, self-purchasing women when in 2012 I launched my fine jewelry collection. I had been at the Trump organization for about 2 years when I met the potential partner in real estate who had long-standing ties to the jewelry industry. Although I passed on real estate deal, this man showed me. We realized we shared a mutual interest to create an alternative to the historical male-centric fine jewelry retail experience. Women were interested in buying jewelry for themselves and were no longer waiting for a man to do it for them. After launching the collection, I soon realized that beyond jewelry, there was an enormous disconnect between how two professional women looked, how we lived, how we spent our time and sought to express ourselves, and the apparel and accessories that were available to us. We are women who work at the growing business. After starting my fashion brand, it was exciting to see women on the street wearing my heels or carrying handbags from my collection. I was really proud of the fact that my collections captured a femininity and a sense of fashion that working women hadn't been able to express even just a decade before. My company was not just meeting the lifestyle needs of today's modern professional woman with versatile, well-designed products. It was celebrating those needs at a price point she could afford. My business was growing quickly, so I needed to assemble a top-notch team to help my company realize its full potential. I interviewed an exhausting list of candidates, remarkable women who hailed from some of the best-known and most successful brands in the fashion and luxury goods industries. After assembling my team, we spent a lot of time together working to carefully formulate our brand's mission and clarify the ideal for which we wanted to be known: passion, optimism, and determination. The more I spoke with people about our brand and our corporate culture, the more I realized that no one in the fashion or media industries were engaging our generation in a meaningful way, addressing our professional goals, ambitions, and inspirations. We are women who work at empowering one another. Women leaders are moving toward being exactly who they are at work, at home, and in the world, without shame or regret. And this is a classic example of how to model success to others by being happy with who we are internally and showing that to the outside world. Elizabeth Cronies McLaughlin, executive coach and founder of the Gaia Project on Women's Leadership. The Women Who Work initiative evolved very organically from my personal experience and from the observing the women around me, my team, my friends, all the women I know who were working hard at their careers. their relationships, their families, and their passion outside the office. We knew it was important that we would communicate the right message. So we did what most businesses traditionally do at this point. We set up meetings with some of the top agencies in New York in search of creative team who could develop some really strong ideas around the concept of women who work. During the meetings, without fail, every man in the room, and they were mostly men, told us to drop the word work from our mission. They said work wasn't aspirational, it was inspiring. It wasn't sexy. One firm suggested women who do as an alternative, downplaying the professional tedium associated with work. My team and I realized not only did they not get it, but that, as it turned out, we didn't need their expertise or validation after all. We were the best at conceptualizing the message because we lived it. We knew our audience better than they did because we were members of the demographic. We were mostly millennials, single and married women, with and without kids. And we were all passionate about work. We were working to create the lives we wanted to live, lives we were proud of and that were uniquely ours. And we believed that there was really nothing more completing than that. We thanked the agencies for their time and, despite their recommendations to the contrary, stuck to our beliefs and launched Women Who Work. The rest of history. The message fuels our mission. It informs and inspires every decision our company makes. It's our guiding light. In November 2014, we launched IvankaTrump.com and made it goal to bring our brand to life in the digital space, giving millennials, working women new content daily, including skill building, how-tos, profiles of industry leaders and rising stars, office appropriate style stories, and life hacks for simplifying the day-to-day in general. We aim to make our readers' lives more informed, meaningful, and true to their own individual versions of success. Shortly following the site launch, we unveiled the first Women Who Work campaign, celebrating the different ways in which women are choosing to live and work at their lives. Women Who Work became a movement evolving into an incredible community of talented, curious, ambitious, passionate women, sharing their experiences and insights to move the narrative away from outdated and ill-informed caricature of how we look, dress, act, work, and view our lives to a place that's more positive, accurate, and inspiring. We are women who work at being wives, mothers, leaders, and entrepreneurs. If family comes first, work does not come second. Life comes together. Annie Mary Slaughter, President and CEO of the New America and author of Unfinished Business. I believe that we each get one life, and it's up to us to live it to the fullest. This concept is central to our mission. One life isn't just about trying to achieve balance or managing blended priorities. It's about acknowledging that the priorities that exist outside of our job descriptions are just as important to us as the work we do to support ourselves and our families. And just as worthy of our time and attention, our identities are much more nuanced and complex than any one labeled could convey. And yet for decades, professional women were referred to only by their job titles. Stay-at-home mothers, defined solely by their caregiving duties. My team and I created the concept of the extended job title as an antidote to this oversimplification. An extended job title goes beyond what it says on your business card or who you are caring for at home to recognize more fully who you are as a whole person and to include what matters most to you, inside and outside your place of employment. Here's a version of mine. I'm a real estate developer, an entrepreneur. More important, I'm a wife and a mother. I design and I build iconic properties all over the world. I have also created and I'm growing a business that seeks to inspire and empower women in all aspects of their lives. I'm busy teaching my children the value of hard work and the importance of family. I'm working on my cooking skills, planning date nights with my husband, and striving to improve as a runner. We launched our Women Who Work campaign with a video featuring 12 inspiring women sharing the many things they were working at, both personally and professionally. They expanded their job titles to include the various roles they played that don't make it onto their resumes, sister, wife, friend, and the passions they pursue outside of the office. Reflecting upon what it meant to each of them to be a woman who works, my team and I waited in with videos of our own and invited women everywhere to join the conversation by uploading selfie videos to social media channels, describing their extended job titles with the hashtag Women Who Work. One of the women featured on my site is Elizabeth Croncy McLavin, a respected executive coach and a founder of the Gaia Project for Women's Leadership. McLavin left a prestigious Wall Street law firm to start her consulting and coaching business, and she is also a mother of 2 young children, of living one life, she says. As a female leaders, many of us have recognized that traditional notions of balance or having it all are impossible, given today's 24 out of 7 work culture. However, as individuals, we are more and more frequently charting unique courses that uplift our values and lead us toward lives we love. The new paradigm of women's leadership sees many of us asking for the first time to work in ways that respect the totality of our lives from a holistic level, and thereby to create lives that make us happy in all respects. So, how to start living life to the fullest? First, you must redefine success. Apart from what is success says makes you successful, or what your boss or your partner or even your best friends thinks, what does success mean to you? Let's find out. Redefining success. What matters most? If you do work you love and the work fills you, the rest will come. Oprah Winfrey. It's only natural that since work looks different to each of us, our goals, dreams, and definitions of success would vary too. For me, success means being an involved mother, a loving wife, and being incredibly committed to my work. As a result, it also means I go to bed much later and get up much earlier than I did before I had kids. My children are young, my fashion brand is thriving and consistently evolving, my role leading the Trump organization grows larger and more exciting with each passing day. I'm a unique place where my life is both chaotic and amazing, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Because my definition of a life well lived includes spending the mornings and evenings with my husband and kids. My schedule during the day is laser focused. The first thing I do when I arrive at the office, aside from inhaling a giant cup of coffee, is write down my 3 to 5 top priorities for the day. To keep me on task, I maximize my time with colleagues, attend meetings and return calls, visit Trump priorities, and development sites. Do all those things that must be accomplished face to face between the hours of 8 and 6. The rest I leave for the later. I don't respond to emails that are not time sensitive during the course of the day. I save anything I could do from home for after my kids have gone to bed. Technology, the ability to be connected 24 out of 7, allows us to prioritize our families and stay on top of work. But what it means, work seeps into our home lives as we review presentation notes at the crack of dawn and pore over plans and spreadsheets long after the sun has set. Similarly, our personal lives are with us at the office, a FaceTime conversation with the kids after school, a text from a friend who is coming to town, the reminder that you forgot to reschedule your dentist appointment, the need to figure out what is for dinner again. For the modern working woman, this lack of compartmentalization between work and home has fostered greater authenticity, which is particularly important since in today's culture we're always on. As author and speaker Brené Brown's writes, authenticity is not something we have or don't have. It's a practice, a conscious choice of how we want to live. It's about the choice to show up and be real, the choice to be honest, the choice to let our true selves be seen. We may be wives, girlfriends, or mothers, in addition to being employees or executives, but we're not donning different personas for the various roles we play throughout the day. No one can know what success means to someone else. I know lots of people who are outwardly successful and inwardly miserable to me. That's not success, but that's the path they've chosen, consciously or not. Success to me means setting goals that feel true or who you are, not trying to live up for the arbitrary bar that society sets for you or what anyone else thinks should matter to you. It's about accomplishing as many of your personal and professional goals as you can daily and feeling fulfilled by your choices at work and at home. As my mother told me, part of redefining success is knowing that what matters most to you can and will change over time. In a year or 5, expect that what's important to you now may be different. While I believe every woman should thoughtfully architect a life she'll love and actively work toward achieving her goals, we must also be flexible, adaptable, and realistic about what is the fact that our passions, interests, priorities, relationships shift, along with disseminating the critical skills that are essential for any leader to thrive. In the pages that follow, I'll guide you through a framework of constructing a blueprint for your life that uniquely reflects what matters most to you and is yours to modify as often as you feel the need. All women benefit immeasurably by the architecting their lives in a way that honors and supports their relationships and pursuits outside of work. Facebook CEO, CEO, COO, and author of Leon and Shirley Sandberg says of women who choose not to have children, it's not only working parents who are looking for more hours in the day. People without children are also overworked, maybe to an even greater extent. When I was in a business school, I attended a woman in consulting panel. After the two married women spoke about how hard it was to balance their lives, the single woman interjected that she was tired of people not taking her need to have a life seriously. She felt that her colleagues were always rushing off to be with their families, leaving her to pick up the slack. Married mothers aren't the only ones in need of rewrite to the rules for success. Most women have been characterized at some point or another by stereotype: married to her career, soccer mom, aspiring superwoman, hard working woman, and so on. I've been all these things, but I'm not one of these things. Rather than be limited by a label, I encourage women, wherever, wherever they are in their careers, to prioritize building a life that's true to them and that honors their own individual passions and priorities. What is success? For me, success right now is getting out of bed every day to bring 150% of this problem. Financial literacy in America, and really trying to solve it. Whether it takes 5 years or 15 years to 3 decades, I don't know, but it gets my heart and soul every day. And the layering and complexity of having a great husband and a daughter, and figuring out how I make all that work. It is a messy and chaotic, just like everything else, and I absolutely love it. I think it really comes down to, what do you want to accomplish, and what do you want this all to look like? Once you really define that, then it's about focusing to make that mess happen. The end.